Who are you without society? This is not a poetic image, but a radical philosophical test. Imagine everyone else disappears. What remains of you? Would your self vanish with them? Or was it always just a reflection in the eyes of others? What we call the self has never fully belonged to us. The language you think in was created long before you. The name you carry was given by others. Even your inner voice is stitched together from borrowed speech. Think of Mowgli, not the Disney story, but the real anthropological phenomenon of children raised outside human society. Such children fail to develop language, memory, even the capacity for reflective thought. They remain trapped in fragmented perception, unable to form a coherent sense of self. This example makes the point brutally clear. Personhood is not something housed inside a body, like water in a vessel. It grows only in the space between people. Without that space, the body remains. But the I never comes into being. Philosophers have returned to this again and again. Levinas insisted, the I is born in response to the other. Heidegger described our existence as Mitsein, being with others, as a fundamental structure of life. But perhaps no one pressed the issue further than Edmund Husserl. At first glance, his phenomenology seems to isolate consciousness, a pure stream of experience, accessible only to the subject. And yet, Husserl reached a remarkable conclusion. Even this supposedly pure consciousness is impossible without the horizon of intersubjectivity. Why? Because consciousness is always intentional, always directed toward a world, and this world already implies others. When I see a house, I don't just see shapes and colors, I see it as a house for someone. When I remember an event, I frame it as something I could retell. Even the flow of time itself, past, present, future, unfolds, as if it could be shared. Husserl called this an a priori intersubjectivity, the hidden condition. That makes experience possible at all, which means your very consciousness is not a sealed cocoon, but already a fabric stretched toward others. But then, the unsettling question arises. What remains when the others are gone? Not roles, not biography, not language, perhaps only bare existence, a raw there is, an anxious presence, without name, without story, without response. Mystics have described this as the experience of emptiness, not the destruction of the self, but the exposure of its limit. You exist, yet you can no longer call it an I. This is not the completion of identity, but it's Eins, the place. We almost never dare to look. The human being is not an atom, not a sealed monad, but a knot of relations. Without others, that fabric unravels and the self dissolves. Personhood is always born in the plural. And here is the question that should disturb us. If your I is woven entirely from others, if it exists only in their gaze and their words, do you really have the right to call it yours? Or has your self never belonged to you alone? This was the rational voice. If these ideas resonated with you, subscribe for more philosophical explorations. Leave a comment. I'd love to hear how you approach the question of identity. And if you found value here, share it, because someone else might be searching for these words today.